Let's start today's show with what we saw last night here in Kansas City, in Arrowhead Stadium last night. And it was just a fresh reminder of not only how much we missed football, but how absolutely remarkable and incredible and how much better every single game, every single year the National Football League is getting. It truly is unbelievable how much of a narrative-generating machine the NFL is. The best reality show there is. Game one of 272 last night began, again, here with the Kansas City Chiefs celebrating another banner, 4 championships for them, 2 in a row. They're going for a three-peat. It's the first ever opener of a National Football League season featuring not one but 2 MVP quarterbacks multiple times over. The freshly minted 2-time MVP in Lamar Jackson coming out with Arrowhead in an absolute ear-splitting full throat and marching down the field to score a touchdown to put the Ravens up 7-0. And then Mahomes comes on out and walks down the field and scores a touchdown and navigates a touchdown drive. 2 touchdowns to open the game, open the regular season, and then we saw a field goal fest all the way until the fourth quarter when the Kansas City Chiefs had an opportunity to put the game away and could not, wound up punting the ball back to the Baltimore Ravens, who marched all the way down the field, and the game comes down to the last play with the Ravens down 7, last play on the clock, and sure enough, the MVP, reigning MVP of this sport in Lamar Jackson, just gains enough attention and spends enough time in the pocket for Isaiah Likely, one of the most unlikely leaders in receiving yards coming into this game last night. He does lead the Ravens in receiving yards last night. He grabs the ball out of the air, comes down for a touchdown. I'm sitting there watching this game play out and watching this play out and seeing John Harbaugh hold up the number 2 on the sideline. They're going for 2. Wow. Everybody was running out for a 2-point conversion. It was not Justin Tucker coming out on the field, only to have the buzzer buzz on the hip of the head ref, Sean Hockley, to go under the hood to check things out. And sure enough, if only Isaiah Likely either had a smaller foot or a different shoe, in the same way that Kevin Durant's three-point shot was just a 2 in the playoffs a couple years ago, ending the season for the Brooklyn Nets that year, it ended the night for the Baltimore Ravens. Sure enough, that is a toe on the end line, and that's the way the season opener ended last night here in Arrowhead. Chiefs 27, Ravens 20. Lamar Jackson accounting for 395 total yards, a $122 on the ground, and it was that much of a difference between a potential go-ahead, game-winning 2-point conversion or the Chiefs walking out with a 1-point win. Instead, it's a 7-point win, and Mahomes cracking a little wise after the game about what happened at the end.
It looked good from my angle on the sideline, but then the first view you could see the cleat. So that's a great football team, and I'm sure we'll see them again at some point in the playoffs. So now we're happy with the win now, and he's got to wear white cleats next time. That's my advice for him.
Oh man!
By the way, if he's wearing white cleats,
maybe
that's not overturned.
Why
right?
would he give him the secret though? I wouldn't have shared that.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson can't handle the truth. He did his best again last night to try and win this football game in a manner that I didn't think the Ravens would have an opportunity to do. I was kind of surprised that the Chiefs gave the ball back in this game. And it really is amazing how it even got to the 2-minute warning, because they were throwing the ball before the 2-minute warning and having no timeouts left for the Ravens. They were throwing it. Ball gets tipped up in the air, and Mahomes out-leaps 2 Ravens defenders to catch the ball to prevent a wild game-turning interception, and B, by receiving his own tipped pass, that allowed the clock to tick all the way down to the 2-minute warning, after which the Ravens came up with a huge defensive play. That kid Simpson that Rod Woodson was talking about, saying that he would fill in for the now departed Patrick Queen admirably. He came up with a huge tip ball to get the ball back to Lamar Jackson to go march down the field, and only to have it end that way, and Lamar still not believing it.
You said it, James. I thought it was a touchdown. I thought it was a touchdown. I still think it's a touchdown. Man, he was just open. You know, I don't want to get it wrong, but it looked like 32 and 20 was like turning to like pursue him when he realized where the ball was going. So I threw it so he can like make a play on it, just so I don't throw it like a line drive to hit him in the face mask and they turn around and pick the ball. So I gave him the ball so he can jump a little bit. But I thought he did a great job, acrobatic catch, and I believe it was 2 feet in. You know, stand on that.
I mean, that is just not a second foot in. It's just that simple. And I know it's tough for the Ravens to lose this way. But it was not a clean game by either team by any stretch of the imagination. A ton of, as John Harbaugh called it after the game, communication penalties, the new emphasis on where offensive linemen are lining up in relation to their center. The Ravens got popped for that quite a bit last night, and Harbaugh challenged the officiating crews in the future to call it the same way consistently throughout the rest of the season.
I mean, or have your guys line up properly.
Well, I mean, the Chiefs did the same thing.
But we knew this was going to happen all preseason. It was obviously a point of emphasis. Like, after it happened 3 or 4 times on the opening drive, you think they would have fixed that?
Well, as I told Dan Patrick today, potentially you just have to leave it up to your own communication within your own building to use your own peripheral vision, that if you can see, if you're lining up, say, as the left guard and can see the opposite butt cheek of any of your teammates on the line, you're offsides. You know, like if you're able to see the other half moon of your teammate, then you should know that you're offsides. Yeah. Isaiah Likely, after the game, pointed out how the Ravens came awful close and should be fine moving forward.
I say this is probably the worst game we're going to play all year. So if this is the best that they got, I mean, good luck in the postseason.
When I hear
Why would he say that?
Well, here's when I hear that, these are the two things I hear. One, I hear a very brash but confident young man who I believe does appear to be coming into his own. I think coming out of last night, the most jittery fan base there is currently in America is anybody who drafted Mark Andrews in their fantasy league. Mm-hmm. Now, that's just fantasy football conversation. Because this kid, Isaiah Likely, is really talented. He's really good, and he gets open really well. And clearly Lamar Jackson has a nice connection with him. And the way that the final drive played out, they were utilizing Isaiah Likely in the same route pretty much to get down the field and then get out of bounds right away. And a lot of those yards came in that fashion. But he also came up with a remarkable touchdown catch and run, as well. So I see a guy feeling his oats, and what is he going to say? He's going to say, basically, we're the best in the NFL because you speak things into existence. Certainly in this generation, I totally get it and I understand it. But the way I also see it is it's just the latest example of another player in the National Football League saying something that is A, bulletin board material for a Chiefs team that is no doubt in search of all of that, to keep fresh and sharp for the rest of the season. And 2, just another example in the NFL of, I believe, the Chiefs bringing about in their competition a sense of inevitability about them that will not age well. Those words. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.